Hello and welcome. Today we're going to explore a fascinating convergence of technologies that is reshaping how we conduct chemical research and manufacturing. We'll be diving into the world of continuous flow chemistry and microfluidics and see how they are being supercharged by two modern powerhouses, artificial intelligence and 3D printing.
At its core, our discussion is about control, specifically controlling chemical reactions and fluid flow at incredibly small scales. Researchers in microfluidics and its slightly larger cousin, millifluidics, focus on creating devices that use minute volumes of liquid. Think microliters down to picoliters. Why work at such a small scale? Because when you confine fluids to tiny channels, the physics changes. The high surface-to-volume ratio means that forces like surface tension become dominant, while gravity becomes less significant. This allows for what's known as laminar flow, a smooth, predictable flow without turbulence. This control is invaluable. It enables incredibly efficient mixing and precise management of heat and mass transport, leading to more reliable and repeatable results.
This precise control has opened up a vast design space for everything from investigating fundamental chemical phenomena to developing new sensors, and even for small volume production of specialized chemicals. The applications span chemistry, physics, biology, and biomedical engineering. You may have heard of the concept of a lab on a chip, which is the quintessential example of microfluidics. It's the idea of miniaturizing complex laboratory functions like sample preparation, mixing, reaction, and analysis onto a single compact platform. We can see examples of this in healthcare, from disease diagnosis and drug discovery to more advanced concepts like organ on a chip and tissue engineering.
These devices can analyze biofluids like sweat, tears, or saliva, offering new avenues for point-of-care testing. Traditionally, making these intricate microfluidic devices involve techniques like soft lithography, etching, and micromachining, processes that are often complex and slow. But a new technology has dramatically changed the game: 3D printing, or additive manufacturing. 3D printing allows researchers to take a computer-aided design, or CAD file, and fabricate a physical device, layer by layer. This provides incredible design flexibility. Complex three-dimensional channels, mixers, and valves that would be difficult or impossible to make with traditional methods can be printed directly. Furthermore, it's possible to integrate electronics and sensors right into the design.
A wide array of materials can be used, including thermoplastics, elastomers, and thermosetting polymers. This versatility means devices can be tailored for specific chemical and physical requirements.
As we can see from a comparison of different 3D printing technologies, there's a trade-off between cost, speed, accuracy, and the materials you can use. Methods like fused deposition modeling, FDM, are low cost and robust, while stereolithography, SLA, and digital light projection, DLP, offer excellent surface finish and high accuracy using photopolymers.
More advanced methods like polyjet can even print with multiple materials in a single run, creating devices with both rigid and flexible components. This is particularly powerful for creating things like integrated fluidic circuits for soft robotics, where compliant and rigid materials must work together seamlessly.
While microfluidics is excellent for research and analysis, what happens when you want to produce more material? Scaling up thousands of tiny microfluidic chips isn't always practical. This is where continuous flow chemistry, or CFC, comes in. CFC is essentially the lab bench scale equivalent of microfluidics. Instead of a tiny chip, you have a system of tubes, pumps, mixers, and reactors that allows for a continuous flow of reactants and products. This isn't a batch process where you mix everything in a flask and wait. Instead, it's a continuous production line.
This approach offers significant advantages. By controlling the flow rate and the dimensions of the reactor, you have precise control over the reaction time. Heat management is also far superior to batch reactors because of the high surface area to volume ratio of the tubing, allowing for isothermal or constant temperature conditions. This leads to better yields, higher purity, and safer handling of reactions that might be dangerous in a large batch, like those involving explosive intermediates.
The applications are vast. CFC is used for complex organic synthesis, creating active pharmaceutical ingredients, and even for precisely controlling polymerization reactions to make advanced polymers with specific molecular weights and structures. The entire setup, from reagent delivery and mixing to the reaction itself, quenching, and purification, can be automated and monitored in real time. With mechatronics and robotics, a CFC platform becomes a powerful tool for high-throughput experimentation, allowing scientists to quickly test many different reaction conditions to find the optimal one.
And just like with microfluidics, 3D printing is a revolutionary tool for building CFC systems. Researchers can now design and print custom reactors, mixers, and other components tailored to a specific chemical synthesis. This includes creating reactors with complex internal geometries to enhance mixing, embedding catalysts directly into the reactor walls, or even printing entire reaction modules from chemically resistant materials like PEEK or polypropylene. We've seen examples of 3D printed coil-in-coil reactors that augment mixing, photocatalytic reactors with custom optical windows for light-driven reactions, and electrochemical cells with optimized electrode designs. This ability to rapidly prototype and iterate on reactor design is accelerating innovation in chemical engineering.
So we have these powerful platforms, microfluidics and CFC, and a transformative way to build them using 3D printing. This sets the stage for the final, and perhaps most impactful piece of the puzzle, the integration of artificial intelligence and machine learning. This is what enables the transition from automated systems to truly autonomous ones, creating what are known as self-driving laboratories, or SDLs. Artificial intelligence in this context isn't a single thing, but a hierarchy of capabilities. At the base level, we have classical machine learning algorithms like random forest or support vector machines. These are excellent for analyzing tabular data from experiments to screen for promising materials or reaction conditions. For example, you could run 100 experiments and use ML to predict the outcome of 1,000 more, telling you which ones are most likely to succeed. The next level up is probabilistic models, like Gaussian processes. These algorithms don't just make a prediction, they also provide a measure of uncertainty. This is the key to active learning. The AI can analyze the existing data and identify the next experiment that will be most informative, the one that will reduce its uncertainty the most. This is like having an intelligent assistant telling the robotic system what to test next. Moving further, we have deep learning, which uses complex neural networks. Models like graph neural networks can learn directly from the 3D structure of a molecule or a crystal, predicting its properties like energy or bandgap without running costly quantum mechanical simulations. Then there's generative AI. Instead of just predicting properties of existing materials, these models can perform inverse design. You can specify the properties you want, for example, a stable crystal with a specific bandgap, and the AI will generate or dream up novel atomic structures that have those properties. The pinnacle of this hierarchy is what the authors call agentic AI. This is where large language models, or LLMs, act as the brain or cognitive engine of the entire laboratory. The LLM can read scientific literature to formulate a hypothesis, write the computer code to control the robotic equipment, analyze the data that comes back from the experiment using the ML tools we just discussed, and then decide on the next step. This closes the loop. The system isn't just automated, it's autonomous. It can plan, execute, learn, and iterate on its own, accelerating the pace of discovery in a way that was previously unimaginable. When you combine an AI-driven workflow with a 3D printed microfluidic or CFC platform, you have a self-driving lab. Imagine a system that wants to optimize a chemical reaction. The AI agent, perhaps guided by Bayesian optimization, selects the initial experimental conditions: temperature, flow rate, concentration. The robotic system prepares the solutions and runs them through a 3D printed reactor. Online sensors, like spectrometers, analyze the output in real time and feed the data back to the AI. The AI updates its model and intelligently chooses the next set of conditions to test, rapidly homing in on the optimal process.
This has already been demonstrated. Researchers have built ML-enabled autonomous flow chemistry platforms for process optimization, autonomous systems for synthesizing nanoparticles with precise properties, and platforms for discovering and optimizing new materials like perovskite nanocrystals. The ability of 3D printing to quickly create new hardware for these systems is critical. If the AI determines that a different reactor design might be better, a new one can be printed and integrated overnight. This synergy between intelligent software and flexible hardware is the defining feature of the modern SDL.
This brings us to one of the most important implications of this work: democratization. Historically, high-throughput automation and robotics were the domain of large, well-funded industrial or academic labs. They required massive capital investment and highly specialized expertise. The convergence we've been discussing changes that. Low-cost 3D printers, accessible electronics like Raspberry Pi and Arduino, and open-source AI and machine learning libraries are making these powerful tools available to a much broader audience. It's now possible for smaller institutions and even undergraduate students to build and operate sophisticated automated chemistry experiments.
This has profound implications for education and training. The next generation of scientists and engineers will need to be fluent not just in chemistry, but in robotics, programming, data science, and AI. By integrating these concepts into the curriculum, for example, by having students design and 3D print a flow reactor for an organic chemistry lab, we can prepare them for the future of scientific discovery. The authors highlight the development of open-source toolkits for 3D printed fluidics and Think and Print lab courses that bring these ideas directly into the classroom. The ultimate goal is to create a more efficient, accessible, and powerful ecosystem for research and development. An ecosystem where a researcher can co-design a new material or synthesis pathway with an AI, have the components for the experiment 3D printed on demand, and let an autonomous system run the experiments to validate the result.
So, to conclude, what does the future hold? The authors outline several key perspectives. First, the early and deep integration of 3D printing with mechatronics and programming is essential. This allows for the creation of not just the reactors, but all the tools, jigs, and sample holders needed for a fully automated workflow. Second, AI and machine learning workflows should be part of the process from the very beginning, starting with simulation and optimization even before the first experiment is run. Third, a focus on data is critical. These SDLs will generate vast amounts of high-quality, standardized data. Designing the system's data architecture, sensors, and online monitoring platforms from the outset will be crucial for leveraging this data to build even better AI models. Fourth, the use of 3D printing to fabricate the active components themselves, such as catalysts or solid reactants, is a promising direction that can further enhance control over reactions. And finally, education remains paramount. Training new experts who are comfortable at the intersection of flow chemistry, automation, and AI will be the key to unlocking the full potential of these technologies. The convergence of microfluidics, continuous flow chemistry, 3D printing, and AI-driven workflows is not just an incremental improvement. It represents a fundamental shift in how we approach chemical and material science. By integrating these devices and platforms, we can accelerate discovery, optimize industrial processes, and, perhaps most importantly, democratize the tools of modern science, empowering a new generation of innovators.